Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are digging into something I think we can all relate to: how to boost your energy when you've just hit a wall. We're going to open up the performance toolkit and unlock some secrets.
I mean, haven't we all been there? You're staring down a deadline, or maybe you're trying to push through a workout, or just a really long day, and you're thinking, man, I wish I had a turbo button. Well, today we're looking at 6 substances that are kind of like that. They promise to give you that extra push when you need it most.
All right, so let's really lean into this toolkit idea. These aren't just random pills or powders. Think of them like specialized tools in a workshop. Each one has a very specific job, a different amount of power, and this is super important, a user manual you've got to read. So let's get them all out on the workbench and see what we're working with.
Okay, first up in our toolkit, we've got what I'm calling the foundational boosters. These are the ones that are natural, they're pretty easy to get your hands on, and honestly, they're probably the first things people think of when they need a little lift. So let's dive in. So, tool number 1, adaptogens. If caffeine is the hammer, these are like the Swiss Army knife. They're this ancient class of natural stuff, think ginseng, that helps your body just deal with stress. They're really good for that general day-to-day fatigue, not so much for it, oh my gosh, I need energy right now emergency. And next, well, this is a tool you definitely know: caffeine. It's the most popular stimulant on the planet for a reason, right? So how does it work? It basically tricks your brain. It finds the chemical that makes you feel sleepy, that's adenosine, and it just blocks it. It's like putting a do not disturb sign on your brain's sleep signals. That's where that classic jolt comes from. Okay, so we've covered the basics. Now, let's get into the high-octane stuff. These are the power tools in the kit, the real heavy hitters. And we're going to see how some are built for a quick sprint, while others are for the long marathon. But listen, with this kind of power, you really got to pay attention to the instructions. So check this out. We've got 2 really potent stimulants here, but they're polar opposites. On one side, there's phenylethylamine. We'll just call it PEA. Think of it as the turbo button, a short, super intense sprint. And then on the other side, you've got DMAA. That's your endurance mode, like settling in for a marathon. 2 totally different jobs. So let's talk about that sprint. PEA hits you fast and hard. It floods your brain with dopamine and adrenaline. It really is like nitrous oxide for your mind. Absolutely perfect for that last, final push you need to finish something. But here's the catch. It's over in a flash. We're talking 15, maybe 20 minutes, and then it's gone. All right, now for the marathon runner, DMAA. This one gives you a much longer, smoother ride. We're talking 5 to 6 hours of sustained energy. And a kind of interesting side note, it actually got really popular because it was recognized as a doping agent in sports. Kind of wild, right? It gives you that long-lasting stimulation without a major crash, so it's much better for, say, a huge study session or a really long day at work. Okay, moving on. Our toolkit also has a few, let's call them specialty tools. These aren't your general-purpose energy boosters. Nope. These have really unique ways of working on your body and mind. They're designed for very specific, targeted jobs. So first up is yohimbine, and this one has a fascinating backstory. It's like a tool that was invented for one thing, but then people realized it was amazing at something totally different. It was originally developed for something else entirely, but it turns out it's a powerful stimulant because it works directly on your adrenaline receptors. It'll give you about 4 hours of energy, but the effects can be really different depending on how much you take. And our last tool in the main box is synephrine. This one's basically considered the legal version of a banned substance called ephedrine. Its whole job is to boost your physical performance by helping your body use oxygen better. And it works so well that some people actually report feeling like their lungs have expanded. A pretty wild sensation. Okay, we've laid out all these powerful tools. But what's the most important thing in any toolkit? The user manual. And when you're talking about substances that mess with your body's core energy systems, these instructions are absolutely 100% non-negotiable. Safety first. So how do you use these tools responsibly? It really boils down to 4 simple, essential rules. First, know your body. Check your blood pressure, your pulse. Second, and this is a big one, start small. Always, always begin with the smallest dose you can. Third, remember you're borrowing energy, not creating it. So you have to refuel, eat, sleep, and finally, don't overdo it. Maybe once or twice a week, max, to avoid just completely burning out your nervous system. And that leads us to this, which might be the most critical piece of advice here.
You can always add more, but you can't take it away. Just let that sink in. Once you've taken a dose, that's it. It's in your system. You can't undo it. That is precisely why starting with a small dose is so, so important. All right, so we've looked at all these different options, which brings us to the big question, right? Where's the line between getting an energy boost and just heading for total burnout? Let's put all the tools back on the table one last time for a quick, clear overview. And here you go. Think of this as your final cheat sheet for the whole performance toolkit. You've got everything from the gentle, natural fatigue fighting of adaptogens all the way up to that super fast turbo button blast from PEA. Every single one offers a totally different way to manage your energy. But here's the bottom line. As powerful as these tools are, they aren't magic. They don't create energy out of thin air. They're borrowing it from your body's future reserves. And that leaves us with a really important question to think about, doesn't it? What's the true price of that borrowed energy? And where do we draw the line between boosting our performance and protecting our long-term well-being?